Sigh of relief. We made it. Wow. Okay. I feel like I'm wrong tonight for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on here. No? I don't know. I feel like I'm just wrong tonight. I don't know what it is. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Groomer's Cut. We're probably waiting on Jennifer. I don't know. Did she send us anything? I might have missed it.
But I know she was caught up in some paperwork.
Oh, you're echoey.
Yeah.
I can't help you. How's that? Is that better?
Come here.
Turn it up a little bit more. You're a little.
There's nothing to turn up.
Huh. It's just you're echoey and it's quiet. But that's all right. As long as everybody out viewing can hear, that's fine.
How does this sound better?
No. That's all right.
That's
all
traffic.
Right.
That's traffic outside of Dara's window.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear that? Yeah, that's
they're
cutting the grass.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was
sorry. Yep. All right. Well, this evening, do you remember we're doing curly coats tonight?
I believe so.
Curly.
I thought so. I thought.
Yeah.
I thought you talked about standout.
Standout curly. Yes. Yeah. Yep. So that is it. All right. I'm going to do our intro. Welcome to the Groomer's Cut. We're a little late, but getting started. For anyone viewing for the first time this evening, or in another place later on, give yourselves permission on Facebook for StreamYard to have your name. So in our comments and in our chats, we can see your name and not just Facebook user. And also, let's see, we are broadcasting on 9 different platforms this evening. So you might not all see the questions, but we will try to talk them and let everybody know what's going on, because we'll see all of them, but you'll only see the ones on the site you're watching. So bear with us on that. And tonight we are here to talk about curly, standout, and silky coats. Who wants to start? Because you guys know this is not my expertise.
Melissa, you want to start us off?
Well, obviously let's start naming off some of the AKC breeds that are officially known as a curly coat. So, well, I'm sure I'm going to forget some, so I'll need you ladies to jump in. But we kind of missed this the last time when we were talking about terriers, and I thought the last one was the Kerry Blue, and that is a terrier, but it's a totally different coat, and so it doesn't necessarily, even though it is a long-legged terrier, a large terrier breed. That isn't actually, it has a curly coat to it, and it's not a breed that we see very often. It's not like a household pet that's pretty common. So that would fall in there. Obviously are, your 3 poodles, your standard, your miniature and your toy. Excuse me, Michelle?
A poodle coat, a Bashan coat, a standout coat, a scissor into submission.
Yeah, into submission, yes.
Yes.
And then, of course, like some things that, like a pulley, or how do you say it? I want to say Commodore, but it's not a Commodore. It's is it Commodore?
It is a Commodore. It's like the
Commodore. Yeah. Thank you. The white one. Yes, Commodore. So those are coats that actually are curly as well. That they're primarily corded, but they.
I know some people who don't keep them corded.
Absolutely.
Which is, to me, it's more of a hassle keeping them uncorded than corded, because their hair wants to do that so hard.
Yeah, it just wants to do it naturally. Yeah. But then you have things like combination coats that, like the Legato, which is not as curly as a poodle.
Yeah, soft-coated Wheaton.
Yes, soft coated wheat.
Yeah, the wheaten. Yep.
Curly, yet it has that hard wiry hair in its coat as well.
So yes, there are. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that we don't see very often, but are actually kind of.
Depending on what kind of coats you have in your deals, so many of our deals are a very curly coat as well. There are some that are wavy. I mean, we could divide them up into the coat types, of course, but the majority of the ones I see are curly, or they're band that we were long.
You know what, Michelle? It sounds like your microphone isn't working.
Yeah, you sound like you're really hard to hear.
I can't help it. I don't know.
No.
I don't know why it's very, very quiet. Like your voice is much quieter than you normally are.
And we're all pretty loud women.
I know. That's why I'm like, Michelle is she's not a low talker and she's not a whisperer. So
does that change anything?
It's better when you're
a little bit better.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Is that
it's
better?
Still not. I would go a little bit louder. If you can adjust your volume, maybe. I don't know.
Funny. I think that's funny that you think I have control over this.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I know.
How about that?
No, it's about the same.
Yeah, well, that's what you're getting today, okay? Move it along.
Okay. Move it along. And I'm not good at that, so.
So yeah, curly coats are basically what Michelle said. The coat that you have to hand scissor that. You know, it is something that requires tools that the drop coat doesn't necessarily require at all times. But you can't get away with it doesn't hide a multitude of sins. You know, a curly coat it's very easy to mess up. You see that with a lot of like young groomers or new groomers that are starting to learn how to actually use their scissors. Mm-hmm. And so you see the cut marks a lot easier, that kind of stuff, especially when.
I think it's the opposite.
Do you really?
Yeah, the standout coats really do hide a lot of mistakes. It's the straight and silky coats that you chop into that are going to show. It takes much more blending technique to me.
Really?
Especially when those silky coats are really short, because then you got nothing.
Oh yeah.
To work
and I
with.
wasn't thinking of it being really short. I was thinking of it being like a little bit, like when you're cutting in to create a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, if you make a chunk, you just kind of whittle it down so it smooths it out. I mean, I think it's very forgiving. I think the standout coats are probably the easiest to take care of if you maintain them properly. Like, they're easy. All it takes is shaping them up or combing them out, giving them a good bath, and making sure that you seal those hairs all the way to the ends. That's basically any drop coat and any standout coat. To me, they are the lowest maintenance, other than the fact you have to do the regular maintenance. But it's nothing. I had a full coated Maltese. I brushed once a week. Her products were well. She was super hydrated. But once a week was pretty good. But you have to do it weekly. You just can't let it go. It's not you get groomed, then you don't have anything done to those coats for 6 weeks, and then you go back into the groomer.
Right.
They do take maintenance. You brush your own hair or wash your face in the morning. Your dog should be combed out at least once a week, if not more, depending on the hair coat that's left on your dog.
So what's a good schedule for people that are servicing those curly coats? I have 2 questions that we can discuss. What's a good schedule to keep most of the curly coated breeds on? I used to tell my people to, especially my standard poodle and doodle people, that they had to come in on every 4 weeks if they were in like what I would call like a maintenance trim, which was maybe a 4, and that would give them about a month's growth. And but if they were going to go much longer, then they would have to book those bath and brushes in between to keep the coat, in good condition. What
So
did you
I've got-
usually?
Well, I've got standout coat clients that come in every 2 weeks, but they're in a hand scissored, really full trim. So they're
Right.
at least 4 inches or long all over. So they come in every 2 weeks because that has to be maintained. And the mom is perfect in combing out her dog every night. And that's the only way I will do a dog like that. Otherwise, it's just destined for sadness and pain. There's no sense in combing out a dog every week or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks when you know it's just going to get matted again, and that's the dog's life. So anything that has any kind of a coat probably needs to be either maintained weekly, once in the salon and then the next week at home, and then once in the salon and the next week at home. The shorter you go, obviously, the less maintenance you're going to need, and you can probably stretch those big doodles out that have that super cotton coat. You can probably stretch them out if you keep them at a 1 guard or lower. Stretch them out to about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how fast they grow and what kind of shenanigans they get into as well. So we want them to live their best life.
Yeah, Lisa said she never understood how people don't realize their pet's hair needs care just like their own. The one thing we see, and that we've been seeing once again, is the doodle owners that their breeder is telling them the dogs don't need to be brushed or groomed. And we've got so many of those coming in that people, they don't want to brush. We like them like that. We like them looking like this, and trying to get them to even just put a comb through them is impossible.
And when they get shaved, the thing is that when you shave them enough, you have to, when you start taking the humanity over vanity stand and saying, sorry, we're not going to brush this out. This is just, it's not fair to the animals. It's not what we do. We're not here to torture,
Yeah.
And so we're going to have to shave this short. And then when the new growth comes in, you have to maintain this schedule. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's okay. It's that kind of Monday.
It's been a busy day at my grooming shop.
That's good, right?
I'm still in uniform, see?
Oh, yeah. So we're talking about the standout coats, and we're talking about getting them on good grooming schedules, and that cuticle has to be sealed well to maintain the coat health.
And standout coats are curly coats, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
So.
And how important it is to blow dry them properly, as I remind my staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that all
Blow
comes
dry
into
them
play.
properly, meaning
That, at least for a curly coat, like on a poodle, and I show poodles, so it's about, I call the term stretch drying. I've heard other people call it as well. Stretch drying is when you are, rather than just use a high velocity dryer, which you can do to kind of take the excess water off, but you really want to make it do that standout thing that it does. So that's how you get that perfect scissored finish, is that you want to put heat down to the skin and pull, just kind of, put your brush in place, but instead of pulling your brush all the way out, just hold the hair at a little bit of a stretch, taut, and apply it. You want to dry it from the bottom out, and you want to get that skin and the bottom part of the hair dry, bone dry, because if you don't use a little bit of a heating element and a brush and kind of pull on it, it's the dampness that might be in any normal grooming shop that might be left behind if you high velocity dry, is not going to be quite as perfect. I know that when I'm doing pets, it's not such a big deal. We can blow dry them with a high velocity dryer for the most part. It does an okay job. But when we were showing poodles, we had to use something with a heat dryer and a stretch because it had to be perfect. Right.
I don't think that pets need to follow the standard of a show preparation, because they
Right.
are extreme. They are the extreme end of the grooming world. However, there are so many. I have talked to so many people who do exhibitions and shows and regular pet people, and I'm telling you, there are as many people as there are alive. Is a technique to fluff that coat out for a proper scissor finish. So I mean, if I do something, it's just because I like to do it and I'm used to doing it that way. And everybody has their own style of doing it. As long as you arrive at the same place, I'm pretty forgiving. I just don't think there's one way to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sit a curly coat on a towel and let the bonds form on the hair. So it sits there until they're about dampish. And I don't put any heat or air on them at all. They just kind of drip, and they've got their nice cushy towels. We've discussed that before. We've got an insane amount of cushion and absorbency on the bottom of them. And then I take them out after about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I will thoroughly demat them at that time, but I do it very gently. You would have to watch me do it, because I do have a technique that I use, and that's the way I like to preserve the hair. I am so gentle.
Yes.
But then at that point, when you high velocity dry a dog that is completely dematted, they dry quick. You can usually stretch just with a comb and regular heat high velocity. I have an adjustable. So I get in there and I dry them and I stretch them that way. It's not severe, because normally the dogs that I get are so dry that I've hydrated them to the world's end, and I want to keep that moisture in the hair. Not on the outside, but I want it to stay juicy, so it's healthy. So that's how I do it. But I mean, like I said, there's 100 different ways of doing it.
Absolutely.
But don't you find that if you try and demat prior to bathing, and you start using those dematting tools, that you cause further damage to that coat?
Yes, once a coat is dirty,
Right.
the hair is so delicate and fragile and brittle because of all the dust. It's soaking, all the dust that lands on the dog is actually soaking up all the oil to make everything supple, so it's super brittle. And if you just go in there with a mat splitter and a brush on a dirty coat with nothing, you create more tangles in the long run. You just break the hair so that it has a tendency to snag on itself over the long run. However, if
I was taught that you should never brush a dirty, dry dog. Even if you're going to brush out, mist them with conditioning mist or something, and so that if you do want to break something up before it gets into the tub, especially with the curly coats, that's what I learned on. It's I'm probably one of the very few groomers out there that doesn't love to do poodles, but I had to work with a woman, and she had a show kennel of everything, standard, miniature, and toy. And so she used to put the egg timer on my table.
Oh no.
And set the egg timer, and she, at that time, late 80s, early 90s, she smoked, and she used to smoke those big Virginia Slims, so it would have like an ash this long on it.
Oh my God.
And she was a tyrant, and she would set that thing, and she would be like, you have 2 hours. And she was also from Russia. And so she showed, and she brought those in, and yes, and she was like, you have 2 hours, and if you are not done within that completely finished on a standard poodle, she would come over and take your dog off the table, and you would not get paid for it.
Oh my God.
It came off. She used to have, it was before using the whiteboards. We used to have those big, like a clipboard with like a pad of paper on it, and who got assigned what. And she would take the marker and cross your name out, and you just had to go get the next one that you were supposed to be doing. And
Right.
I sort of
To
think
what
that's
end?
illegal.
To what
yeah,
end?
it was real illegal, but that's how, and those were the conditions then, though, and so for me, that was one of the biggest things that I learned was that, you are never supposed to brush that dirty coat, because we not only did pets, we did show dogs. We were prepping for shows. So I love the breed. I think they're a wonderful breed, all 3 sizes, but I have an aversion to like that being the breed that I focus on.
Yes, you have traumatic memories.
Yes, I have PTSD.
You were traumatized.
Poodle
You
stress
have poodle
disorder.
PTSD.
Yes.
So you have boss management PTSD.
Yes,
Oh my God,
yes.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
But it's just I laugh about it now, but it taught me a lot of different things. I mean, it was a hard way to learn, but it did teach me a lot of proper things to do, which are don't brush that coat out dirty, she never shaved reverse on their faces. She would never do a reverse on the face. Now, when I left there and I went to work other places, they were like, oh, yeah, you could shave a white poodle with a 40 backwards.
Everybody wants to do it in reverse. They just want it smooth. If they could nair their faces, I think they would.
Yeah. So,
it's ridiculous.
That's another big no-no for that curly coat.
I think
you should not be doing those in reverse.
Dara, this is a note to you. I think a great topic for a show at a future time would be for all of us that have been at this for some number of decades to do kind of how the grooming industry has changed over time and some of our old war stories. Wouldn't that be fun? Melissa, that's a good one. Holy cow.
That would be good, because we have December, which is only 3 weeks with the rush, so we could do one of those in December.
I love that.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Things remembered.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know.
The good old days, not.
Not, yeah.
We've come a long way, baby. Talk about
Yes,
that's a good one.
No, it's true.
Speaking of Virginia Slims, that's what that lady used to
I think that the reason that I love poodles and I've always said as a groomer that I'm not artistic. Like I have a very artistic husband. I have a lot of really professional artistic relatives, and I mean professional artists relatives. My grandfather was offered a job from Walt Disney and he turned it down because Walt Disney was nobody, and he went on to become an attorney. Little did he know. But I know a real artistic talent, and I've always said I don't have that. I mean, I've got musical talent, whatever. But when it came to, I don't know, just hair, like I used to play with hair when my sister and I both had long hair when we were little. We used to play with each other's hair. My mom gave me one of those pull-up Barbie dolls with a hair that grows and all that. I mean, I loved it. My grandmother would bring her wigs and I would style her wigs. I just loved playing with hair. And then when my mother's friend got a loss, we were German Shepherd people, but my mother's friend got a Lhasa Apso that because she had cancer, we had to keep it for a while. All I did was play with that dog's hair. And that's really where I got my start in grooming. I just love playing with the hair. And to me, the poodle coat, whether it be on a doodle, sometimes you get a doodle with that stand-up curly coat. Whenever you get that, that's your opportunity to just be, it's more than just grooming, it's art. Because you are doing these beautiful, you can create these angles, you can correct the dog's conformation, you can create any shape, any pattern, any design that you want to. And it is literally, it is just the ultimate, I think, in the artistic side of what we do. I think we do a lot of health and safety and service to these animals in so many ways. But to me, the poodle that coat is just all for the art of it. It's just stunning what you can do. And I love to watch grooming contests because I love to see, what a Blake Hernandez does with a poodle and, what all of the different styles that they can come up with. It's quite amazing.
Sherry,
Very.
It says, Sherry says, I missed the first part of your chat. In terms of brushing dogs before the bath, I was taught to brush to loosen debris in the coat and skin before the bath. So you don't necessarily have to do that. That's an old school way of thinking. You can take that dirty dog, as long as it's not hideously matted so you have to peel it, you can absolutely put that dog directly in the tub. So that's not an issue. I do make a collagen spray, so when my dogs come in, the very first, everybody just gets sprayed down. Because the product that I use will actually swell up any hairs and kind of loosen up any tangles or mats in the coat. So it's kind of just like a pre-spray conditioning treatment. And then by the time I get ready to bathe it, it's had that little soaking time. So that it just kind of loosens that hair, relaxes it, and then protects it, moistens it up a little bit because it's so brittle when it's dusty and dirty. The dirt just makes it, anytime you move a dirty hair, you can break it, just snap it. So I do like to put all my dogs, I like working on a clean coat. It's very rare that I'll try and work on a mat beforehand. If I really have a heart for my client that is begging me to save an ear or something, I'll probably work that out beforehand, but with plenty of spray, and then put the dog into the tub. But for the most part, I'm going to say 99.9% of the time, I'm working on a clean coat. They all go right in the bath.
What are you doing if you're hand stripping? And that's last week's show, but what are you doing if you're hand stripping and, you know, you're pulling out dander and oils? Do you wash first, and then if they come out dirty after you strip?
For me are an exception. I bathe after stripping. I strip a dirty coat.
Yep, me too. Good. Okay.
So do I.
Curly coat, because we're on curly coats. Combing out a curly coat when it's dirty is not something that I like to do.
No, but if I get something, like you said, that has like a significant mat somewhere, and the owner, you know, yes, and it's not an all over entire body or a full leg or what I like to call an encasement matting, where you're breaking that, you know, completely open, then I'll take some conditioner and work it usually into the mat, and slowly try to comb and break through what I can before I, you know, go and put them in the tub. And just give it, like you give them time after, Michelle, before you dry. I'll usually give them some time with that conditioning stuff in there on that mat to just let it do its job, and then try and go in and break it down as much as I can, and then go ahead and wash. But
I saw that my old partner, Lisa Herbold, my grooming school partner, has said that she doesn't understand why people don't get that pets and their hair needs are similar. It's true. Like if you say to somebody, they're like, well, why can't you demat my dog that hasn't been here in 3 months? Because it hasn't been here in 3 months. I said, have you washed it, brushed it, conditioned it,
Well, we were talking earlier that if you
don't
brush your own hair, then your dog absolutely should have a comb run over it as well on that day. If you're washing your face in the morning and brushing your teeth, and you have a hair routine for yourself, make one for your dog. It's a living, sentient being in your home that needs care. Just like a child or a husband or a son or a sister or a grandmama that you're taking care of. So all these people need care, which means care for their hair, care for their nails, make sure their skin is clean and mite-free, and that goes for all of us. So,
I think it's about making sure that we understand that as groomers, and I've said this before, that we are paramedical service providers. And so when we start to look at ourselves as so much more than just somebody that shaves down dirty dogs or washes dirty dogs, and that's it, that just like when you go to your doctor or you go to your hairdresser, they're going to talk to you about your hair, about your scalp, about the right products to use, and how to properly care for, yourself. And that, I think, is a huge part of our job that a lot of us as groomers are missing out on, that we don't.
And I think that then the other exciting thing about the curly coat or the stand-up coat that we're, you can do that. You can do all those care things that we're supposed to be doing, but you can also, I think that's the one time you should probably give yourself a little permission to try something different, artistic. Instead of doing the same cut that people always want you to do, why don't you ask them to let you try something a little more stylish, a little longer, a little maybe a banded trim or something with really poofy legs, or I think this is the kind of coat where you should also be artistically adventurous, which can be very satisfying, right?
It can. It's very satisfying. Sherry, yes, I do de-shed in the tub. Most of my hair comes out in the tub, and I do the work in the tub with my techniques and my products. So by the time that I'm actually putting a high velocity air on my pet, I'm not really having a whole lot of stuff go in the air, which is my goal. I want to keep as much hair from falling on the surfaces in my salon as possible, because I'm not going to breathe them in, and I don't have to clean up as much at the end of the day. I don't want hair snowing all over the place, and I know it's very gratifying to do that, but I'm not cleaning off all those surfaces if I don't have to.
And when the hair is wet and you blow it, it sticks to the walls of your tub, which I really love. I'm with you on that, Michelle.
Use a little squeegee and go.
Yeah, makes it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So from the two ladies that are the skin and coat specialists, what is the difference within that curly? I know the answer to this, but I want you guys to answer it. What is the difference with that? Like when you look at that follicle versus, a curly hair versus a straight hair.
Yeah, it's actually physically different. It's really interesting. Right. The follicle itself is bent, and the hair itself comes out that way.
Well,
it is differently shaped.
For a curly coat, I have very curly hair, but it's shaped like a fettuccine. So if you would make a slit in something and then squeeze cookie dough out of it and it just comes out flat, that's how curly hair grows. A straight hair, the aperture, the opening is round like a spaghetti, and it just comes out straight like you were just pressing spaghetti out. So that's kind of how I think of it. So it's basically how it is. And then there's the whole spectrum of different, some are curlier, some are tighter, some are just slits. Some are huge and come out with this beautiful, long, straight, thick hair. So,
I love the analogy of it's kind of being squeezed out of the follicle. That's, it's good, because I think that, that way you can, you also know that there are some grooms that we do that are curly coats, but I call them the rustic curlies. For example, the Lagotto Romagnolo, where it is supposed to stay curly, and it's also not supposed to be brushed or blown out or anything or separated. The ringlets that form in the Lagotto hair are supposed to be left alone after the bath. So Lagottos and terriers, when I strip them, are the ones that I try to do the entire groom before the bath. And in the case of a Lagotto, the entire groom, the cut, the scissoring, everything, the brushing out, and then I wash them and, put conditioner and rinse it out. I don't do a creamy conditioner. I do a very light, clear protein conditioner. And then I just let them shake off, and I don't even towel them dry. I don't even chamois them dry. I want those ringlets to stay formed in the Lagotto, in that rustic curly coat, because you don't want it to stand up. You want it to form those ringlets. If people brush a Lagotto out in between groomings, they will actually cause more mats, because they'll break up that natural ringlet.
Anything that's curly and you try to straighten it by brushing or by heat or by manipulation, you're going to break it. Anything that grows straight and you try to curl it, everywhere you curl it, it's going to have breakage.
Exactly.
Lagottos, they go straight to the tub, and I demap them with conditioner with a comb only. You should only take a big, wide metal comb from from the root of the hair and then out of the animal. Anybody who takes care of curly hair, I'm going to say 3B all the way up to 4C knows exactly what I'm talking about. Absolutely. You have to pull that up. Everything gets done while the dog is wet, and then you let it dry naturally. You can blot it. And then after it dries naturally, that's when, according to the standard, if you read it, you put them back on the table and look at their shape, and you just clip off a curl here and there to give them their rustic shape, and then carve in their face. and that's
Right.
basically all you do with them. But if you, I know you can't hear me. I know you can't.
I know.
I don't know what's wrong. It only
Actually-
happens in StreamYard. So,
It actually
Melissa
sounds
had
better
this
when you
issue.
lean forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually sounds a little better when you lean
When
close.
you lean forward.
well,
Yeah.
the microphone is traveling with me, so I don't know why.
Yeah,
that
I don't
happens.
know. Maybe it's a connection. I know that I used to keep, and I still do. I used to keep small. They're called Salon Towels. You usually can order them from like Sally's Beauty Supply or one of those. Now I just lost all my audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm like, now we can't
Now
hear
we
Michelle
can't hear
at all.
Michelle.
At all? Oh.
Yep, nothing. That background noise.
This happened last week also. Yeah. There she is.
Oh, there it goes. It
All
just
right.
came back.
Oh, I see. So for some reason, the settings in StreamYard are only letting me use my microphone of my camera instead of
That's
this. I can hear you
Oh.
on my headset, and I don't know why. Nothing has changed.
So weird.
Yeah.
let me see if I can do something.
I would
Text
keep
support.
those little towels for blotting, because so many doodle people say, don't make my doodle look like a poodle. I
So
like it to look I want it
They
curly.
want it wavy. They want it wavy.
Right.
Yeah.
I still want
Yeah.
it wavy or curly. So I would keep those small towels there, and they're great. They're a little bit more absorbent because they're specifically made for, just when they wrap your hair as soon as you wash it. So, and I would just keep those there.
Isn't it a great, I mean, we have some of those clients too, Melissa. And what we do is we just kind of don't blow them dry all the way. We just high velocity dry them until they're just damp. And then we can, kind of brush them out safely. And we just, but we let them stay damp. And then they kind of just naturally, wave up.
And I would just, after the bath, and I've already combed through and, snipped off whatever was a little out of shape here or there. Just if they've already started to dry, I might mist them a little bit more, and then just start to just scrunch them, like you would your own hair, to just kind of pick that body up, lift it, and give it a little bit more volume. And the doodle owners seem to be happier with that than them being stretch dried and all that fancy scissoring, and then they come in and they're upset that they don't want that coat to look like that. So
I wanted to address my friend Kim's question about the doodles that are kind of matting before her very eyes when she's working on them. I think we know. I mean, my guess is, and I would love to know the great Michelle Knowles' opinion on this, but most doodles are a cross. If you've seen my 15 coat types, we talk about fur types of coat versus hair. Fur type dogs shed and should never be cut, especially not on the torso. Hair type dogs, the hair grows and grows and grows until you cut it, and they mat, and you have to trim them. Fur type dogs, the hair grows to a certain length and stops, and so on. So, but all doodles are a cross between fur and hair. So your genetic, like Mother Nature didn't do that, and centuries of function-based evolution of dog coat type, which gave us the breeds and groups and coat types that we have today, where the coats are functional for a purpose, and have stood the test of, in many cases, centuries of grooming. But then the doodle is just this sort of
manipulated by man. I mean, it's been a very direct and focused manipulation of their genetics to bring them to that point.
But the point is that the doodle is a recent cross of fur and hair. And that's why they mat, because it wasn't really, all of the coat types that preceded them didn't really intend to do that. That's just a recent fad that has to do with, this marketing of hypoallergenic, okay, so it's not going to shed. You've got your golden retriever or your Labrador, but it's not going to shed because I've crossed it with a poodle. The problem is that anytime you get a doodle, and now, of course, just the whole look of the scruffy look of a doodle and the long hair doodles are very popular, but they mat more because they still make an undercoat. It's still needs to be, de-shed and pulled out, but it won't naturally fall out on its own the way a golden retriever's, going to naturally shed, but a golden doodle is not, because it's been stopped from shedding by, this adding this poodle component. So all of this, it just sits in there, and you really do have to, I think one of the things you have to do, Kim, is you have to, you have to pull out undercoat the same way as you.
I think that if you are having issues with doodles that have no matting, but then during the baiting process they mat, those mats are in there, but either you're missing them, you have to look at your product usage and your technique of manipulating that coat all the way to the finish. Because perhaps you're not using a correct conditioner for that type of coat, and they vary so much, it's hard to say, oh, do this for doodles, because then doodles run the whole spectrum of, wire hair to a standout coat with everything in between. So I would have to see that particular doodle to help you with that particular concern, because there's no way.
But it's safe to say that a large majority of them, because they are a mixture, is almost like a combination. Like they have that undercoat that needs to be taken out, and so that has to be part of the.
This is an excellent analogy. Think of it as that doodles with that difficult coat are continuously, for their whole entire life, blowing their puppy fur.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happening. They have a coat that works against itself. And some of them are there to stay, so they don't know how to live in harmony unless you can find products and a technique to help them live in harmony.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's just trial and error.
Yes.
Is trying different products or creating your own product to, using just bases to create what you need for that individual pet. I personally used to take certain dogs that I knew this worked on this kind of coat, and then if I got another one in, I'd be like, oh, this dog has a coat just like Rusty. And so I'd write on that card, I did this with Rusty and it worked, so I would try it on that one and kind of make my own little categorization of these, because when you start messing with mixed breeds, it's a potluck. There is no rhyme or reason.
Exactly.
Well,
I'd like to answer Alejandra. She says, but at what point do you do the haircut? I do any trimming. When I pick up my clippers with my scissors, that dog is all the way bathed, all the way dry, all the way combed out, not a mat anywhere. And then I start doing the feet and the nails. I want everything clean. And then I go from there. And I develop my own little routine, which people could follow or not. As long as you have a routine so that you can make it muscle memory, that should be fine. But I start with the feet. I do the pads. I work my way around and then do all the nails coming back. And then I start on the main body blocking and haircut with the clippers, and then I finish with my shears. And I do that every single time. The dog has to be all the way clean and prepped before I will pick up my clipper. So that's when you do the haircut. That's the perfect time to do the haircut.
If it's really matted and you need to, and you can save time by, cutting off matted hair that you're going to cut off anyway, sometimes I'll do a little pre-cutting. And quite often it's with scissors because I'm still going to want to save an inch or two of hair at the bottom. I have a lot of customers that, we're known for our longer cuts. And so, it's not usually the need for a matted shave down almost never happens. Although I had one today for the first time in months, a 15-year-old dog who'd never, I can't even tell you. It was the saddest. It was just sad. She hadn't been groomed in over a year. She was 15 years old. The mom kept thinking the dog was going to die, but that had to be cut off before we couldn't have even reached the skin to clean the dog had we not cut it at that point.
Yeah, when it's medically necessary, I've been known to peel a coat with a 7 if you have to before the bath, because I'm not washing through fungus infected,
right.
Nasty, added. What's the use in that? I'm not wasting my time or my product.
No, and the other thing is that when you do that, Michelle, you're actually helping that poor animal to get that blood flow back to the skin, you know, and restore that circulation and all that. So that bath is so therapeutic to them once you remove that pelting. So that's, you know, there's exceptions to all rules, you know, but overall, you should be working on a clean dog when you start your haircut.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't be brushing out dirty dogs that are dry, because you're going to cause matting. I've seen groomers do it, brush out those poodle coats or doodle coats, and then put them in the tub and then blow them dry and then complain that they're matted. And I'm like, well, you made it worse. Then you added heat to it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
don't dry a dog that's not completely dematted. Don't do it, because you're tightening up the hair. And you're
Yes.
Under there, you're just making them tighter. You're going to either have to clip them out or carefully pick them out with a comb, depending on what kind of coat you're working with. It's impossible.
And depending on how tender skin they are.
But once they start to blow their dog dry, I just walk over there with a large comb and just start combing it to see if there's any mats left, and if there are, I make them turn off the dryer and demat the dog properly. You just have to stack that mat.
Yeah. And always take into consideration how tender skin they are, because some dogs, you know, they're individuals and they have individual personalities. And while I could deep brush, you know, one of my Shih Tzus till the cows come home and she's fine with it, I have another one that I'll brush and it's 100% drama the whole time. And I know I'm not physically hurting her, but I know that it's just not her thing. So we do a lot of that in the tub where the hair is a little bit more pliable, and I do it with a conditioner. Now, granted, the dog's not matted, you know, seriously matted. She may have pin mats in there, but, you know, that's a big thing that a lot of groomers want a kind of like a blanket instruction. You know, do this on all curly coats, do this on all terrier coats, do this on all, and it just doesn't work like that. You know, they have all different variations that we need to consider them.
To learn how to do different natural fibers. Believe it or not, I've run the gamut. I've already been there, done that. Look on YouTube or wherever you find your information. Look how they treat and clean, deep clean natural fiber carpets, natural fiber jackets like camel hair, rabbit hair. How do they treat furs? How do they treat different fibers in the real world that we wear? You know, once you understand how if I had a dog hair jacket, there's a certain way that I would clean it. So you can really know a lot by looking at, right now, and this is so random, but it applies. There's a guy that I'm watching on YouTube now. He is a Polish gentleman who cleans high-end carpets, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 handmade carpets.
Wow.
He's got a special place, and then it is like it's like art. He's got slow-mo, and he sloughs the water off the carpet. He's got and stuff.
Can you put the lights on?
And it's a very
Yeah, just one of my switches.
He adds a conditioner before he rolls it up and centrifuges all the water.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks.
You should check him out because it's like art. There's little tinkling piano or guitar music in the background, and he's not speaking. He's just working on this beautiful, dirty carpet. I'm just fascinated. So I've just been.
But because it has living fibers, he's putting conditioners in it. Isn't that interesting?
Because I still care for those fibers.
Yes,
so
and that's.
I used to teach that dogs are like fine laundry. If you use some of the principles and rules and protocols for cleansing fine laundry, you will absolutely get clues on how you should be reacting to a certain texture of hair as well, within the confines of the products that we use on a living dog. So.
I don't know if anybody saw my picture of me with my the other day when I had my ponytail in that I put in, and I I love to play with wigs and hair pieces and all that kind of stuff, but I purchased the human hair. And so as part of the care for that, I have to oil that. And I have to spray it with the oil sheen and to brush it all out and to keep it supple, or it will dry out and break, and I can only wash it in like tepid water. And there's a whole protocol that goes with that. So understand that, you know, even though I've heard other groomers say, oh, you know, you guys with all that natural stuff and yada, yada, it's dead. You know, the hair is it's dead, and it's not, there's nothing, you know, blah, blah,
It
blah.
is, but
Exactly,
it was once alive.
right?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's alive or dead. It forms. It has a function. It's
Exactly.
a functional keratin appendage to the skin.
Right.
You can't treat it separately. Like, oh, it's dead, so we can cut it and do whatever we want with it. No, not really. No. It grows that way to protect that skin in a certain way for the function and job of the dog that it's on.
Right.
So if you take that into consideration, you can't just willy-nilly cut it. There are
Right.
rules. There are
And I teach that in my feline classes, and I literally call the claws and the coat skin appendages, because it is a skin appendage. And, you know, I think that it's just, we need to readjust our spectacles on how we look at what we do.
Sherry asks if we ever use a dryer to loosen mats. The best, absolutely. The HV dryer is a great mat loosener, but there's that, I don't know if I missed because I was late coming on tonight, if you guys did the close, open, close conversation at all. So the idea of putting a conditioner on first, like you put the dog in the tub, you wet them down, and if they're really matted, I did this twice today. We had 30 dogs today, and 2 of them got this approach where we preconditioned it and for 10 minutes and really worked it in, and then did the shampoo conditioner, and then in the conditioner we we put the high velocity dryer on. And it's amazing when you've preconditioned it and pushed those oils down in to protect the hair, it does loosen up a little bit better. It depends on the kind of how bad the mats are and what the coat type is. But yes, the dryer can be a great tool, especially if you do this preconditioning, right? And Michelle, you were the one that taught it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just depending on the fibers that you're working with, and I really do consider them fibers. They're natural fibers. And you want to preserve them. I'm into preservation. I think what a clinic manager actually asked me that because I insisted that I wasn't going to just shave dogs down all day, every day. And he was like, so you're into hair preservation? And I'm like, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
If we can agree on that, we can carry on. So, yes, I preserve hair. I preserve hair because it performs a function of protection for the skin.
Okay.
It's been a little quiet over there today, but I was just
recap our meeting as well.
I was just about to go there and say for a recap, because voting is coming.
Yeah.
Okay, you people, you listen up. Listen up.
Listen up.
Listen up. I'll try and get close to my microphone because evidently something.
It helps a little. Yeah.
Okay. So we reviewed all of the verbiage that we are.
Well, we is the Master Groomers Council on Best Practices.
Right.
Okay, go.
Mm-hmm.
We revisited all the verbiage that we had agreed on so far, and we're actually putting it in a form to vote on the certain sections to be included. So that's going to happen May 30th. If you are a part of the Grooming Council of Best Practices, please make sure that you have sent in your credentials so that you have voting rights, so that you can vote. And if you want to be on the Master Council of Best Practices, send in your credentials and your application form that you will find in the Pet Pro Educators section of files.
I'm going to go post it right now.
Yeah, we are voting on this verbiage for best practices on May 30th. Be there or be square. There will be a private link sent to all the masters that have verified their credentials. And it will be a closed session simply because we're going to do open polls and then vote on each of those sections. And after we vote, we're going to do our first publish. We're going to publish it on Amazon so that clients can order the book.
It's great.
And they'll start to know, I mean, any groomer can have it, but the client can actually have it and understand where it is that we're coming from, what we've all agreed on at the highest level of our industry. And it's a living document. So that means that if the science changes, we're going to reformulate the verbiage and republish. So it's a living document. This will be carried on hopefully past my time here on Earth and morph and evolve as the science gets better and as our understanding of what we do gets better and more serious and focused. But I'm so excited that we've done this for about a year now, haven't we?
Yep.
So we are now at the point where we can actually publish a foundation of best practices in grooming. If you want to be a part of it, you don't have to be a master, and you don't have to have credentials to have your voice heard, but only masters can vote, because we really are promoting getting your credentials, being peer reviewed, and getting your master certificate. We believe in continuing education, and you do learn so much when you become a master groomer. You've learned so much. Why would you not want to do it?
I just want to say what an amazing thing this is for our industry to finally have in writing. Excuse me. Woo.
Bless you.
Yeah, I still have, hair from work, right? It's so exciting for our industry to finally have this document, because other industries have guiding principles and best practices documents. I think you have spoken, Michelle, before about the AHA, which is the American
Animal Veterinary Association. They have developed best practices for the veterinarian industry.
Right. And there's other industries. Electricians have it,
For veterinarians, AHA is voluntary, but it shows to the client that hospital has been approved and looked at and gone through with a fine-tooth comb, that they are actually practicing at best level. That is it's hard to get, but if you're operating at that best level, then your client can be assured that everything they read in the book is what you practice in your salon. It will give them a better foundation to ask better questions. It will give you, as a salon owner or a groomer, a better foundation to answer those questions, or maybe revisit some of the things that you're doing currently.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that having everybody on the same page is going to be immense. It's going to be fantastic. It's for everyone. Even though there are some people that didn't want to participate in it because they didn't understand what it was going to be. They kept asking, well, how are we going to enforce it? We're not enforcers. We're creating a standard, and then everybody gets to choose how high they want to go to meet that standard.
But it's exciting because also, there's been some real work in digging into the science of, has best practices on anal glands changed over time? Absolutely, it has. And so has ear, management of the ears and so on, now that we've got better and better science. So it is an exciting step forward. And thank you, Michelle, for making it happen.
Absolutely. It had to happen. It was ready. We're right. We need it. I don't think it's something that it's just cool to have. I think that our industry is on the precipice of becoming. And this is something that is necessary in order to make that happen. In order to help evolve it, we have to agree that these standards are something that we all agree on. And the reason that only masters can vote is because it shows that you have gone through a process in which your peers review your work and agree that you are a master of your craft. And I think that is amazing. It's an important step in your growth. And it shows the council itself that you are at least on an even playing field to discuss these issues. So that's why it's important. And I encourage everybody to take an opportunity to sign up and listen in on some of the meetings.
It's great.
Yes. Wow.
I can't wait to see the reaction in the industry once it's published.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
that's very true.
I'm going to make
Yes.
it all academic, so it looks
Yeah.
like a leather-bound book. it's there.
It'll
Yeah.
be interesting.
Mhm.
I know it'll be something that is going to be, people are going to be like, what, where is that? Where did you get that from? When did we get that?
Exactly.
But it's also, I mean, a lot of people I think are very curious and very supportive. They just are also very busy. So,
Yes.
yes. So I think, I think that it's going to be welcomed. It's going to be great. And especially for people like Lisa Herbold and I, who are going to be running a school, you know, it's going to be a great document to have, to add to, yeah.
It will definitely be an asset to our industry.
Yeah. Thank
We
you, Kim.
need-
Game changer. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. We need more of these kind of things to start to help to propel us forward and to show the industry that there are some people out there, and the group is growing, you know, that want to move this out of the archaic, you know, days of 7 and 10 blades, you know, head to toe, and that's it. And, you know, there's a lot more to what we do, and we need to really start to appreciate the educational opportunities that are available to us now, because for especially those of us that were grooming way back when, there were not those kind of opportunities. I remember when YouTube first really started, and I was like, my son was watching skateboard videos on there, and I was like, hey, can you look up grooming on there?
Yeah.
You know, and there was like nothing. And so these things are just really, really starting to come around, and we're kind of laying that foundation.
Yeah, no, and it's really one of the good side effects of the horrible pandemic is now we have so much Zoom educational opportunities too, which is great.
Absolutely.
So Sherry in Canada, the way that Dara has very smartly set this up is that once the Master Groomers Council and Best Practices document of guidelines and best practices that is published, it will be published on Amazon, and basically then people can just buy per copy.
And Sherry,
you know.
also, if you want to participate in the council, you can. This goes beyond country boundaries. This is worldwide. Anybody who wants to participate in this is more than welcome. Unfortunately, I only speak English, but anybody who wants to translate is more than welcome to do. I recommend maybe forming a council in your area, and then maybe we could all meet at some kind of a conference.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be amazing.
I love that.
I mean, I don't know where I'll be in 5 years, but maybe we'll be taking it on the road. I don't know what's going to happen.
So Tanya's
Time will
asking
tell.
about refresher courses at schools. I mean, certainly we can do that if you're in the Chicago area. I think for online schooling, nothing's better than, wrong thing. This
Wrong
way. I always get.
Wait, which way are you going?
The whole Pet Academy does offer
Dara!
courses, and it does offer continuing education if you have your esthetician for the salon environment, or you have esthetician for the veterinary environment. We do have advanced CE. So if you want to continue to learn, we have a ton of classes that we're still offering. And
Dara's got this great online offering in a whole host of areas. So that's really great
We
too.
got quite a bit. You've got your class. We got Melissa's stuff. We've got business. We've got 78
Wow.
seminars.
That's at Whole Pet NH for anybody that doesn't know. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, there we go. I'm as confused.
I know. Yep.
Why is it that everything on Zoom that you do, the camera is backwards?
reversed.
It's opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that? That's so weird. I'll have to have my intelligent husband or daughter explain this to me.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you do a selfie on your camera on your phone, right? It's backwards.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's actually not backwards. It's kind of it shows how you are in life. It's
like a mirror image.
Yeah.
It's not a mirror image.
But it's not. Yes.
You know what I mean? This is you see me putting my hands over my left shoulder.
Yeah.
Or my right shoulder.
Yeah.
They're in life over my right shoulder. So it makes you, it turns you so that it's what you would be like in real life.
What you're actually doing. Oh, interesting.
We did have our first holistic diploma. What do we call it? The arts. Master of Holistic Arts.
That's right.
Yes, we did get an application in for that. Yep, she's working
yeah.
on her video and her letter of intention. And yeah, so that's exciting.
great.
Actually, no, I take that back. We've got two. Two. I got one last week also. Yeah. Yep.
That's great.
So, and that one all is about the holistic. It's got some of the aromatherapy, some massage, some animal communication, behavior, the esthetician, skin and coat. What else?
Right.
Jennifer's.
It's the science.
It's got your science.
Yeah. And so when are we going to do?
What am I talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'll pull it up.
We're talking about her online school,
courses that
Sherry.
we offer, yeah.
She has a lot of online courses on a platform that allows you to interact with the teachers and do assessments. It's a real online school, and state credentialed for a real credentialed diploma, which is amazing.
You have a diploma and not a certificate of
Not a certificate. Yeah.
A real diploma that is recognized as an accredited, as a licensed school.
Right within the state, yeah.
So here's a question. When are we going to do the herding group and working group coats? Are we going to do that? Are we going to
They're next week.
Next week. Yay.
Yep.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, those are next week.
That natural.
So I think I'm going to be home. I was supposed to be traveling, but I think I'm going to be home now. So that's good. And then we're going to skip Memorial Day. Right.
No Groomers Cut program on Memorial Day Monday. But between now and next week, we're going to work on Michelle's sound. Like, you buy these amazing headset, Michelle, and
I know.
It might be. I just have to log off and log back in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
On the drop-down menu, it's not offering these, but for my headphones, they are. I hear all of you guys are so crisp. So crisp.
I got to set up. I have a new one too. And
wow. Look at those.
I know they look fancy.
I know, they really do. They got colors.
Memorial Day is May 30th. Yes.
May 30th,
Yeah.
Monday, May 30th.
Yep, 2 Mondays from now. So we'll be on next week, and then we'll be back in June. So voting. Oh yeah, that's the 30th. Yep, that's the 30th. I've got to get on. I am so behind on all my stuff. I'll get cracking tomorrow. I've had so many business meetings the last couple of weeks. I haven't been able to keep up with things. So time to get cracking. Time to get back to work. I needed a break too. Ooh, all right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up tonight. And we'll see everyone next week. Thanks for joining us. And next week, we're going to do
herding, right?
Herding and working. Yay!
Herding and working. So, yeah, your favorite.
My favorite. I am a unabashed herding group fanatic. Yeah.
Very cool.
Smartest dogs. Smartest
dogs.
I know.
All right, well,
for your
bring
homework, everybody want to do something to prepare for next week? Look up Bunny the Old English Sheepdog on YouTube.
Bunny.
Definitely.
Bunny. Bunny the Old English Sheepdog. Her
Dog.
mommy is a PhD psychologist who is teaching using these electronic buttons on the floor.
Oh, I've seen those. Yes.
Oh my God, this dog is so, like, it makes you realize how it's not just this one dog. It makes you realize that dogs really do understand language.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever.
72 commands. 72. Yeah. She could pull a sled. She could pull a cart to market. She knew she was a human in dog form.
Yeah.
They are so smart.
They are so smart.
They're incredible.
All right.
Good. Sherry, you think your dog is smarter than mine? Okay. You're on, babe.
And I know mine are smart enough to trick me into thinking that they're stupid.
My dogs now, my little 3 dogs, they're all dumb. They're all dumb as posts, and I love each and every one of them. Limitations.
Their brains are
The brain is like a little tiny hazelnut, and I love each and every one of them.
Yeah, you and I have the same thing going on with our littles.
you know.
Give me tiny and stupid.
But their hearts are big.
Their
hearts
hearts are big.
That's
And their
right.
souls
That's
are
true.
full
All right.
of them. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys all
Okay,
have
I'm
a great
gonna do
week.
our. Yes, I'm gonna do our thanks.
Yeah,
and we'll
everybody
see you guys
stay
next
on and
week.
watch the closing credits. They're really cool. Thank you, Dara.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching,
All
everybody.
Bye, Melissa. Bye, Michelle.
Good night.